This is an example of the settings for finishFloors for Revit Workflow version 2.0. On my Revolution Design tab under the Workflow panel, I've got a settings drop down for finishFloors. This will give me my settings dialog here. There's a couple of different settings. There's the floor by click settings up here. The first setting here is use finish code map to look up floor types. This just tells the floor by click settings whether it's allowed to use the finish map. If there is one saved or not, you can turn that on or off. And then if the finish code map is turned off, or if the floor type is not found within the finish code map, there's two options here. The first one is prompt for floor type, which, just as it sounds, when you click the room to create the floor, it will give you a prompt that says what type of floor would you create, because I didn't find one automatically. Or secondly, there's place the default type, which will not ask you anything, will just place the default floor type. The next setting is the default floor type. Right now I've got it just set to this finished wood flooring, so that's just the type that's the default to place. If this is set for to place default and the finish type map is not found. Okay. Secondly, finishFloors will allow you to create door thresholds at doors around the room. There are a couple settings for this. First one is the allow thresholds for non-zero sill heights below some value. Okay, if this is unchecked, any door with a sill height other than 0 will not create a threshold. So if your content uses no threshold height or no sill height as the default, this is probably, you should just uncheck this, because any door that's got a sill height probably doesn't want a finish threshold within there. Okay. However, some content has a default sill height of 1/4 inch or something like that. If you want to do that, you can check this in any door with a sill height below, in this case 1 inches. I can set this to millimeters for metric if I like. But any door with a threshold below 1 inch, so 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, or whatever, it will create a threshold. Anything above that or equal to that, it will not create a threshold. Okay. Next setting down here is my 3 options for thresholds. First of all, I can ignore the thresholds, which means I just won't create them at all. The finishes will just go to the boundary of the room and ignore doors completely. I've got 2 other options for creating thresholds. One is extend to the face of the frame. So at doors, as you can see, it will come along the edge of the room, come out to the finish or the face of the door frame, and create a threshold bump out just like that. Again, if this door thickness is greater than the thickness of the wall, it will bump out this way and hit that face of the frame. And lastly, I've got extend to the center of the frame. So with this option, if this is a door between 2 rooms, you create 2 rooms the same way, it will take the threshold out to the center of the door frame, just like it shows here. Just to note, on extend to face of frame and center of frame, there is what seems to be an API bug that may give you an error when you create those in about 25% of the cases. You'll see a warning dialog box the first time you do this. The warning dialog box can be ignored, but it's got also a link to a video to show you the bug and what it is and how to deal with it. It's pretty easy to deal with, but just to let you know that it's there. And then lastly, if I've got this set to face a frame, I've got a frame thickness parameter names, and this is just a simple list. What this is, in order to get the face of the frame correct, finishFloors needs a parameter that's accurately reporting the frame thickness, or the depth of the frame from there to there. So all you need to do if you want to use the face of frame option is list out all the parameters that your firm or your content uses to denote that value. finishFloors will look for all those parameters within the doors in order of preference, and when it finds one, it will use that as the value of that frame thickness and use that to offset. So that does need to accurately report that frame depth in order for this function to work as extend to face a frame properly. So just list those out, and if you want to use that option, or like I said, the other two options are available as well. And those are the possible settings for finishFloors.